think the biggest thing, I was explaining this to another young filmmaker that was here documenting another fighter, and he was just, oh, you know, I want to be the next Will Harris. I want to create my own Anatomy of a Fighter. And I'm like sitting there listening because I respect everybody's wishes or what they want to do, but I'm like, I didn't join this to create anything. Like I saw an opportunity to humanize some of my friends, which were fighters, you know, down in South Florida that included Kamaru Usman, and it grew into Anatomy of a Fighter. You know, Anatomy of a Fighter never was supposed to exist. You know, when I had the idea of creating a documentary about fighters for 1 year, I just wanted to spend 12 months with fighters, put together some type of film, put it in some shitty film festival, and I'll be happy, right? It was no glory in it. I just wanted to add that to my resume. What happened was when I spent a lot of time around these guys, I saw what the sport was, and I saw the beautiful part and the ugly part, and I was like, I get it from a promotion side. They're not gonna tell they're gonna promote a fight, promote an event. And I was like, there's no one that's truly telling the real stories of these athletes. And I felt like I could create it. Now, you can have a million thoughts in your mind and don't have any action or any opportunity to create it because you just don't have the resources. I didn't have the resources, but my resources was fuck it. I'm gonna figure it out. You know, it was one of those things where I was like, all right, I'm doing weddings on the side, making good enough money. And when, you know, I'll go do a wedding for $7,000 and then I'll take $2,000-3,000 of that and invest it into telling stories of these fighters because these fighters couldn't pay me at the time. They couldn't, I mean, most of them can't pay me what I'm worth now. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep building, and putting all my time in it to where I got to a point where I was like, I wanna go all in on this. Because after a year, I looked around and I'm like, there's nobody else here in this room.
There's still no one doing this,
I'm like, what the? Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
One, you got to have the skill set. Like you literally have to be good. It's a million video content creators today with cameras. There's so many cameras that's affordable. They shoot 4K, 8K, raw, log, everything. But equipment doesn't mean anything. It's what are you trying to convey? What are you trying to tell? Are you trying to tell a story with some music and slow motion and just it look cool? Anybody can do that. Anybody. But how can you capture a story that's going to impact people outside of the circle that you're documenting? And when I got around like this crew that are religious, Muslim, dominant fighters from the mountains of the Caucasus, I was like, I have an opportunity to impact not only just these guys in the sport, but millions, billions of people. You know, like these guys represent Muslims in a positive way. Because we always see Muslims being represented in a negative way in the West.
Yeah, and Die Hard. Like one guy with a...
No disrespect to the
movies.
UFC.
Yeah.
I love the UFC. I love Dana White. I love everything they've done for me. Because without them, I wouldn't even be a part of this sport. But I just don't think they're going to show a 2-minute opening of a call to prayer.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And roll it and show these guys praying. And, you know, because just the Western ideology of Islam, it's not going to happen. And for me, and that's the brilliance of YouTube, it's like I've created my own network, just like the Jibber Jabber podcast has created a network and you just building catalogs of memories. I feel like I have the opportunity and now the audience to be able to tell any type of story I wanted. And that's why I'm blessed to just be a part of this sport, because I've always said, like, I want to create the Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown documentary series for fighters. And not just MMA fighters. It was fighters in general. It could be Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, glory kickbox, anything, right? Judo. I just feel like I have a whole open canvas to the world to be able to tell stories because I have a skill set and I know what I want to do in life. That's the biggest thing. This sport is becoming so popular that kids just want to be a part of it. My DMs is flooded with, I want to work for you. I'll be your assistant. I have this equipment. I would love to do this. And I'm like, I'm not doing this because it's cool. I'm doing this because I have a mission. I feel like I have a mission.
Documenting,
Yes. Like I always tell people, if my series ended with my Khabib series, and that was a part of my resume as a filmmaker, I'm good. Or with Kamaru Usman, I'm good. I was able to document one of the most legendary UFC fighters in the history of the sport, then they retired. I'm good. Move on to something else. You know, I could be doing humanitarian pieces in Uganda or, you know, China or something like that, just telling stories, because that's what I ultimately want to do. But, you know, I got so far into the game, I can't go back.
Leave.
I can't go back, you
But
know?
the thing is as well is that where I think it really works with you is obviously the way you, everything that you do with the camera is gold. And I'm sure, you know, like me, I look at one of my first podcasts and I'm just like, man, fuck, I didn't even let the guests talk, dude. I was like answering everything for them. I would just, every time they said something, I was like, yeah. And the whole way through, I'm like, that's the most annoying voice ever. But it grows, right? It changes. You start to, and the funny thing is I don't know if you did it this way, but I didn't look back and try and change things. I kind of developed and learned, and other friends would be like, hey, dude, shut up while they're talking. Do you know what I mean? And I take that in and I put it into it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I kind of took it and said, I don't like this, this, and this. I'm going to break it down. So without you even kind of analyzing it, it just grows and changes because it just becomes a part of you, right? You naturally start to evolve in the way you do things. I think what happened with you as well is you were very lucky to have those people around you that it built trust with the viewer. Because obviously these people are not going to let anyone just come and film them. Imagine how many people after they saw your stuff with Kamaru or after they saw their stuff with Khabib are messaging them saying, hey, I could do it better, or hey, I could do it. And they're not even getting a response from any of them. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's such a valuable tool, that you are the type of person, because these people obviously don't have you around just because you can film. It's your character. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you treat them. It's the way you respect. It's the way. So there's so much more in the package behind what's going on, right? So I think that is a major credit to you.